Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Wandering Wellspring. This is a tarot for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Mars, or Venus for the month of March. Now, I do these a little bit differently than some others you may have seen. Before I do these videos, I go ahead and meditate on the energies of your sign, and then I get visions. And then in this video, we're going to be going ahead and I'll be starting by telling you the vision I got and then interpreting a little bit in regards to what you may need to focus on or what you might encounter in the month of March. But from there, I'll pull oracle cards and tarot cards as guided, and we'll dig into those. This is a general reading for the collective, so it may or may not resonate or fit your situation. But as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how things resonated for you, what you'd like to see on this channel, which tribe. I talk to a lot of different groups in my readings sometimes, and which one you are. Especially during this time, human contact is huge, so I love hearing from you. And commenting is a great way to help the YouTube algorithm, along with, of course, the liking and subscribing. But I will try to mention any decks I use, but otherwise I'll list them in the description. Hey Leo, this is your reading for March 2021. So first off, the vision I got for you was sitting on a pier. So you were, I'm assuming it's you. Until we see otherwise, we're going to say it was you sitting on a pier. And on a bench on a pier, and you're kind of sitting there, and this kid, maybe, I don't know, like 3-4 years old, like this little boy, runs by, and he's chasing a balloon, and there's just the idea of the motion around you. Like, you feel the wood under your hands on the bench, and you're just kind of feeling that, and it just feels like everything where you are is kind of still. And I'm pretty short, but usually my visions aren't biased to my experiences so much. So I'm just going to take it as it was instead of, oh, it's because of me. But you couldn't touch the ground when you were sitting there. And so your feet were like swinging, almost like you're a kid, but I don't think you were a kid. And first I ended up asking 2 questions on this one. I asked what the bench was, and I got like these curtains of lights, kind of, that you're just kind of walking through and pushing out of the way as like you're going through them. Kind of like fairy lights, but they're kind of like just hanging down and not just on a wall, or I don't know, it's hard to explain. And you're just kind of pushing them through. It didn't feel electrical though, it felt like natural, kind of. So and then the other thing I asked was what why you couldn't touch the ground, like what that was all about. And I got the vision of putting refrigerator magnets on a fridge, and when you put them on the fridge, sorry, my hand's right there, it's like when you put them on the fridge, if it's like really filled up with all sorts of different magnets, the idea that like if it's kind of like a really stiff magnet, like when you try to move it, it like hits another magnet, or it hits another magnet, and it's just like you're trying to get it in the right place, and it's just kind of like jerky with the movement. In relation to the other one, what I got about that was, it's kind of like, as far as the sitting on the bench and your feet not touching, it's like not big enough to consume the space, to like be planted there per se, because of, you know, like a magnet, be there and that's your spot, but small enough to almost be planted there because everything else is so much bigger that it's, everything else is so much bigger that you can move, but you're in this confined space. So it's like not big enough to fully inhabit the area that you're in, yet still able to like feel that boundary around you. Not boundary, but boundary caused from all the others around you. It's kind of almost like also like the commotion. Like if you're sitting on a bench at a pier and like you're just kind of still staying there. Not because you're choosing it per se, but because you're in that moment. I don't know. It almost feels like a kid where it's like, you're like, okay, I am supposed to stay here. But it doesn't mean necessarily that it's not necessarily a kid, but, and then you see all the movement and the life around you, and you see the kid and you see people, and you just feel that wood underneath you that's just solid and right there. And that's where you are. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with some oracle cards. This is the Shamanic Healing. It's a mini version of the deck, but I find they work better for readings and space and my hands, so go with that. Yeah, there's like a piece of something. And also for, I mean, it doesn't really matter as much with the oracle cards, but when we get to the tarot cards, generally I don't do reversals. So yeah, it's not this point. We'll see if that changes in the future, but I figure I get enough details about the cards as it is, both positive and negative usually, so it's not really. Excuse me. Oh, I'm gonna get a sip of tea real quick. And what messages does the universe have for Leos, my Leos, for the month of March? Message Spirit to have for Leos for the month of March. Messages for my Leos. And even this could also be, I mean, if you're a cross watcher, or if you're, you know, you have Leo in a different part of your chart. Not just sun sign, but sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mercury, Mars. Just one of the, I mean, even like if you have a stellium, if you have a lot of different planets in Leo, this could apply to you as well. Let's see, I am going to just pull cards this time. Let's do 3 cards. Messages for Leo for the month of March, especially regarding the vision. I did not ask that, but hopefully there's clarity enough that that's... Let's get that a little bit more centered. So I'm going to say it right off the bat. I don't know if you can see, but this is joy, this is discernment, and this is home. I don't know. I think you might actually be able to see these cards better than I can because the screen's far away from me. So I can see it in front of me, but not necessarily the screen. It's funny, in this card, this discernment card, I actually get kind of the same depiction of the bench, where it's like you're on this wood. I mean, in the vision, it was the bench, but there's also all this all around, so it's like encompassing you, which almost feels like the energy or the feeling in the for the magnets. But in that was also a matter of your boundaries, like not your boundaries per se, but the boundaries and limitations created by everyone, all the magnets being in their place. So the magnet, I guess I don't know, putting it there, like it was hindered from being able to move, like without actually being picked up. So I kind of feel that in this, and it's funny because that's discernment. I mean, and discernment is also a matter of boundaries too. It's a matter of being able to call things out for what they are, to see things for what they really are. So it's like, it's just that idea of being able to feel like you're separate from all that. And it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, if you liken that to the thing with the bench, the vision with the vision with the bench, it was this feeling of being separate from all the movement around you and being kind of planted there. Not planted because you're wanting to be there, but just because that's at that moment. And like I said, the person you had it was a girl, but that's how I see my visions. So, not, I mean, girl, boy, guy, whatever, but it's not specific to that, it's just the energies coming through and what I was seeing. And, so you were sitting there, but like you were swinging your feet back and forth, and it wasn't like in a bored way, but just almost, just able to swing your feet. And it also felt almost similar to the magnet, where it's like there was freedom in your feet, but the rest of you was planted on that seat. So it was interesting. It was like you were exercising the freedom that you have if you go by all the other visions and this and everything. This is also interesting because that kind of feels the same way. It's like the whole idea of being planted. And it's funny because, so it's a home, a house or hut or whatever. And that's, home. So I guess home. Hold on, excuse me. I have to sneeze. Eventually. So it's a home. And that's like a place to be planted, a place to be, that's not just your comfort zone, but your, not your landing space, but it's your place. It's your resting place. And yet it's surrounded by feathers. And feathers are very much, it's part of birds, it's part of their wings, but it's very much a matter of like reminding the freedom, even purity sometimes, if you think of angels as well. But in general, reminding the freedom of movement, of flying away, of flying. So when it's bordered in that, and then bordered in this crazy energy of the sun, it's really funny because it kind of makes me think of you on the bench, where it's like you're the one not stuck, but in that moment stuck in time, and everything's moving around you and reminding you how still your space is, especially like if you're touching, like you're touching the wood on the bench. So it's like reminding, like, okay, everything's calm, there's something about touching that wood on the bench. Like it just felt like it wasn't cold, or it was just a reminder of the steadiness, the stillness of where you're at, or what you're on, or where you're sitting and resting. So I really think this is really interesting because it's, like I said, it's almost an exact depiction of the concepts along with this. And then the joy, I feel like, I'm not sure, like it depends on other cards we see. Maybe I might pull clarifiers, I don't know. But I feel like there's an element, especially the card's joy, and there's butterflies, dragonflies, I'm not sure what, you know, whatever, butterflies, dragonflies, something that symbolizes that. And there's these plants and there's these flowers, and it's like all these joyful, you know, pleasant growths are like seeping through everywhere. Like this is going through that boundary, this is going through that. And it's almost like joy is like spreading, like it can go past boundaries. You know what I mean? And it's like when you think of boundaries, it's not necessarily boundaries like, I mean, it's boundaries, like whether it's boundaries like boundaries that you put down is okay. Either way, there's something more to that, because there's an element of, I also just thought about like when you put down boundaries, you can be putting down boundaries and feeling like, okay, well, I'm putting this down, I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. And some people, when they put boundaries down, it's a little bit more harsh, or it's very solid, and the focus is on the technical rather than the loving through the boundaries. And for people that have been wounded and gone through different experiences in life and haven't dealt with boundaries well, sometimes when they encounter that, it's really hard for them to take, and it takes them to a wounded place, not because there's anything wrong with the person putting down the boundaries, but because the person that's encountering that still needs to heal. And so I just think about that when I see this card, the idea that putting down boundaries, but joy coming through. So you might be put in a situation, even you might be in the situation, because if, you know, the person on the bench and with the magnet thing too, is you might be in a situation where you have all these boundaries around you and, you know, you can't move, or you feel like you can't move, and you feel like every time you try to move, you get reminded of that you're not there yet, you're not fully grown, if that makes sense. Because even like, you know, on the bench, you're not grown enough to encompass that space, to be able to move correctly, to be able to do all this. And it's not because there's anything wrong with you, it's just the state you're in. And so you might be in that place where with the boundaries, every time you encounter that, you're tempted to think, okay, well, I'm not grown yet, and there's something wrong, or it's just dreading the concept, just being in that state. But when I did ask about what the, hold on, I'm trying to think. When I asked what the bench was, I got those like fairy lights hanging down type thing. So I got this idea that even though you're in this place that's surrounded in boundaries, joy can pass through that, can pass into your space, and it can pass out of your space into others. So you might be in that place also to bring light to other people, to spread joy to other people. Not just to think, okay, there's life all around me and I can't move. There might be more to that, again, like I said, but there's an element of joy is able to seep through boundaries. I think I just want to go straight, to the tarot right now and see more about the message in that, what Spirit has for my Leos. I honestly don't use this deck very often. I like it, but haven't really had the chance to really delve into this deck. I've meant to, though. So what messages do you have for my Leos? For the month of March, especially in regards to the cards that we've seen so far and the visions. Just clarifying all of that. What message do my Leos need to hear right now? What message do my Leos need to hear right now? Message do my Leos need to hear for the month of March? Message for my Leos for the month of March. Okay, I think that's good. I think this time we're going to go ahead and do overhand. Whoa, I'm about to start already. Message for my Leos for the month of March. Message for Leos for the month of March. Message for my Leos. Okay, that's like quite a bit. Okay. So I already said, yeah, I don't read reversals, so. But when they do fly out like that, I kind of want to, like, I usually like keeping them face down and then just putting them where I feel they're supposed to be. I'm not sure these are all going in this, though. It's quite a bit, though, actually. Yeah, no more. Possibly, but not right now. Let's put these up here, 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 and here, like that. These cards are really pretty, though. Really vibrant. Try to make sure you can see that. Okay, so with this one, this is, I mean, I feel like ultimately this seems like this is your attitude in a business situation, in a situation about yourself, as far as you being able to provide or you being able to start something up that's going to start provision. And it's going to grow. Or at least that's what this is about. And how you handle it in your internal and all that. So the King of Coins is, you know, the King of Pentacles. It's a card about, it's the authority in, of Pentacles and Pentacles. So it's authority of, like, money, money-minded, wealth, provision, material. It's authority in that. So it's the state where it's having that kind of authority, so much so that now it's the idea of, you know, having that kind of faith in that that's going to come in, that, you know, it's money minded. So not money minded, but basically believing that things are going to come in, blessings are going to come in, gains are going to come in, that you even have the faith, trust, I'm not sure, trust, to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to invest in this, and I'm going to invest in this person, and I'm going to invest in that. Because, so it's basically having that security and that like mental security in that you're willing to say, okay, this is going to come back to me. It doesn't matter. Like maybe this person's new, or maybe this idea's new. Either way, everything's going to work out in the end. So it's the idea of having that kind of authority that you're starting to invest in other people, and you're also starting to help other people grow and be able to build themselves as well. Build themselves financially, I believe. Financially, or just in that way to where they can prosper in that. So that's that mentality. And the fact that's in the center. What I feel like this is these are two different ideas and elements. So basically, when you go into the Nine of Coins mentality, it's, you know, Nine of Coins is being able to take a rest, break for yourself. But not just being able to, but having the mindset that, okay, I've done enough work, I'm allowed to rest now. Like, and not just I'm allowed to rest, but everything's not going to fall apart. Like, I can actually rest in the fact that now things are going to start working themselves, and there's a whole system going. And so basically it's that state of a business where you can actually take a break and take a vacation, and you can say, okay, well, everything's not going to fall apart when I do. However, there's something with this card I always see, and I feel like maybe could be for you as well, is I know this is supposed to be like, I think like a little pool or little thing or whatever, water, fall, not fall, but fountain, or, you know, like a little pond area. I see it as like an empty tunnel, and I always feel like she's about to fall in. So that might be part of it too for you, where you feel like, if I take this break, yeah, okay, I'm supposed to do this break. supposed to do this. If I take this break though, I might just fall in. And in relation to the vision, I feel like it could be saying, you know, it's like, well, if I'm just taking this break, if I'm just resting here and I'm not being active and I'm not doing that, I'm not doing this, and I'm not in the public eye, but I'm not one of the key players, I'm just going to fall and get lost. And it's that idea of, oh my God, there's so much activity around me, so many people, so much life around me, and I'm just sitting here. And it's that idea of almost being overwhelmed of your lack of doing. And not saying that that's what you do, because you could be working very hard and doing a lot of work, but that's that mentality of when it is time to rest, sometimes having some trouble with that. And then the other thing here is the Seven of Coins, where it's the idea of, you know, you're trying to build something, you're trying to grow it, and you're at that stage where you're needing to, it's almost like the Hermit card, where you're looking forward and you're looking back, and you're trying to assess the situation and figure out, okay, well, where is this going, and what can I do to help things grow better, or to make things more efficient? You know, so it's a really good hard-working card, but it's also really good detail-oriented. So I feel like sometimes you go between these two. It's like, okay, well, I need I need to work on this, and I need to figure out what needs to be done. I need to figure out how to change things so things can keep going good or go better in the next phase. And then there's this other idea of, well, I need to rest, but if I rest, I'm going to fall. I'm going to, I'm going to get lost, basically. And it might be even getting lost in the competition, or getting lost in the mundane of, say, like the attitude of, if I rest, like I'm going to get lost in, I'm going to lose my momentum. Like it could even be that. And it's just this mental struggle. Now, the other side of that that comes out. Like, you're trying to get here, and this is what you're doing. And you might even be portraying this right now, and this is what's going on in your head. But I'm not sure. I think more so you're trying to get here. Then the other side of that is, okay, well, and this is so funny because, okay, so Knight of Cups is, you know, movement and going quickly, but not quickly like fire action, but more quickly like, oh, I'm so passionate about this and so big about like intuition and emotions and feeling everything so deeply. And it's that kind of like, let me take hold of this. Let me receive this. Let me get into this, you know? It's that kind of energy, which is really funny because when I saw this card, like, I know, okay, these are supposed to be, I don't know, some kind of sea creatures. But, like, I'm going to see if I can show this. But, like, I just see, like, a hand going like this. Oh, like that right there. And I see it, like, picking at that. And then even this looks like kind of the same way. And even if I said, like, this, I said she can fall in. This even looks like something that you can fall in. Like, it kind of, like, is a whole nother way. But the thing is, so it's like, okay, so get all in consumed and be like, okay, like, you're trying to figure out how to get here. And sometimes it's between these two, and sometimes it's between these two, as far as what you're doing. And it could even be a different situation. It could be like you're in a business situation and one person's this and one person's this. It could be that way as well, you know, for different people. Like, I mean, some of you it may be one way and some of you it may be the other. But I do feel like some of you, this is all you, and this is what happens. It's either this of, okay, I need to jump in and I need to grasp everything I can, and I need to, I almost feel like suck up all the knowledge. It's not about knowledge, but passionately, like, I just need to devour this. Like, I'm so interested in this and growing in this and building and moving in that way, you know? And then the other side of this is this. It's like, okay, well, I have to have faith. You know, I always see with this card, because this is, it's correspondent to the Hierophant. So I always see this card as like, it's a boundary. And there's like elements of separation of, okay, well, these people go here and this person goes here and this is the way these people are and this is this way. And there's another element in the Hierophant card, actually, I forgot when I was saying all this, of bringing the past, of like the past traditions and the past ways of doing things that you connect to people in, like, what worked for you, what was familiar for you, into your present or into this new environment, and basically trying to connect again by bringing those things. So it's almost like also a matter of extending tradition, and sometimes it's a matter of adapting new traditions and, you know, changing things. So, but either way, it's always like a change, or a this was then and this is now, or there's such a awareness of the environment, not the environment, but the energetic environment of what was then and what's now, or what needs to come out now. And like, it's almost kind of, again, feels energetically like the feeling when you touch the wood on the bench of, okay, this is me and that's out there. So, and also, I mean, it can be a matter of faith too. It's like, okay, faith that I need to stay my place. I need to be, you know, I need to do what I've been called to do, and trust that everything's going to work out. So when you go into that mode and then you're fighting this mode, this is like, okay, I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to take everything, not take like in a bad way, but, you know, I'm going to take the opportunities. I'm going to, you know, jump in, do whatever. And then this is the, okay, you know, I'm going to play it not smart, but, you know, I'm going to not bide my time, but not put all your eggs in one basket, because it's a matter of this goes here, this is done this way, and then this is I'm just going to go in. You know, I'm so passionate about this. And so it's like when you're either this way or you're this way, some of you. Again, like I said, could be another person, and this could be another person. And I don't want to clarify that, because I really feel like there's two groups I'm really might be talking to right now. So some of you, this is all. And another thing is, I will say, I can relate to this. I mean, I'm not Leo, but my moon's in Leo, and this is very resonating for me. But I do feel like some people, this is another person, and this is you, or this is you, and this is another person. So be open to that. If you're cross-watching, you know, think about that way as well. Now, on top of that, there's another layer, though. So when you end up going between these two, right? So you're going between the Nine of Coins, that is wanting to rest, yet feels like is going to fall into the mix of either nothingness or, you know, get lost in everything happening if you rest too long. Or you go into this of, okay, I need to grab it. I need to grab it. And so you're fighting these two sides of yourself as well. Of, okay, well, what do I do? Do I rest or do I jump in? And then when you do that, this is what happens. The Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is a matter of, it's basically jumping in. Not jumping in, but it's the energy of, it's like fighting battles and fighting your battles. But with the mindset of you don't matter, you don't care, like, if you lose everything. And it's not because you are so passionate about it. It's because you're mentally so invested that you're like, it doesn't matter. Even if this is a losing battle, I'm doing this. You know, it's that kind of like, I almost want to say obsession. And then if you think about this too, if you look at this card, like this specific card, that's what it feels like. He's got all these swords, you know, there's all this, you know, stuff, everything. His eyes look kind of nutty. And then he's got like this sword here, all these swords that are just like hanging in the air. So it's like, it feels like it's like kind of like the idea of grasping for straws, but with swords. It's like, let me throw this. Let me see what sticks. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. I just have to fight. I got to get this done. So it's like when you're going between this and this, it's like taking all this passion and then doing this and then doing this and then doing this. So pretty much like at points, you're just like, come on, let me just do this. Let me get this done. Let me not get this done, but let me get this to work. And it's not even get this to work because it's a mental thing. Like the Swords card, it's mental, intellectual communication. So you might be like, this might be what you're presenting to people, honestly, because you might be in your mind going between this and this, but then when you finally get it out to people, it's like oh my God, I'm gonna relax tomorrow, and then I'm gonna jump in this now, so I'm not gonna have enough time, so I gotta jump in this quickly before I lose my chance. You know what I mean? And like, but also with the idea of, I mean, again, it's that uneasy mentality of you're sitting on this bench and there's so much life around you and you're feeling the wood underneath you and you're just like, everything's so still here. I need to jump in. And when you go between different phases, all like this, it's like, it makes you crazy when you know, like that's what it's been, at least. That's how it's been going. Now the other side is you got this side of you where you're just like, okay, you know, I'm going to work on this. We're going to figure out what's working, what's not working. We're going to make some adjustments, you know, be detail oriented, look, you know, analyze things. And then this one where it's like, okay, let me trust, let me go as I'm shown. Let me have faith this is going to work. Let me have hope. And then comes the Page of Coins mentality where it's like, okay, well, here's, you know, sorry, I'm still in this mode. Too much energy there. It's again, it's provision, it's prosperity, but it's more so a messenger of it, or sometimes a messenger of it, or sometimes it's the potential for it. So it's like when you're doing this and you're doing this, your eyes are you're just on this, you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna work. You know, I can see the potential here. I can see it. And that's your driving force to keep between these. But then to keep between these, it's like that. So that's what it's been like. That I really feel like that's what it's been for you. You've been feeling like you're sitting on a bench and you're told, you might be told that the bench is a good place. It's this nice, like fairy lights place where, you know, there's just like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Avatar or whatever. I think that was the one where like they like the lights, like, I don't know, the trees have these like lights, almost like weeping willow, but instead of like tree pieces or parts, it's these lights and these like, I think they glow like iridescent, not iridescent, but incandescent. I don't know, whatever. It's phosphorescent, I think. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so they have these, and it's just like, you're told this is like this nice place, and all you can think is, oh my God, that the wood's still, I'm still, my feet are moving, like, but I'm not moving. My feet are moving. I can't touch the ground. Like, so it's like, you're not there yet. You haven't been grown to this yet, or, you know, grown past, or, you know, where you're going, but you're constantly reminded of where you want to be. And you have all this energy and all this, like, I want to say crazy, and with no judgment at all, because I feel it in myself when I've dealt with this. And again, this could be a whole business partnership, and this is one person and this is the other person. And when this person and this person work together, it comes out to look like this. When this person and this person, or well, this side of this person and this side, it comes out to look like this. And it's like, you know, but either way, I mean, it seems very business oriented. I'm gonna see. Let's see. I think I want to. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead really quick and see. I'm gonna put them down as I feel. If I get to stop putting them down, I will. Yeah. Okay. So this was the last 4 cards that jumped out, but I had a feeling not yet. Okay. So the Knight of Swords is movement, but it's really interesting, actually. This kind of feels like it's clarifying, not clarifying, but like confirming everything. The Knight of Swords is movement in the mental, intellectual. So the way it works is it's basically, okay, I need to know everything before we move forward. Or let me get all the details, not details like this, but let me get all the details, what's expected of me. Let me get like how things work so I can make a game plan and move that way. That kind of movement. An intellectual, mental, let me get on the same page movement. 4 of Swords is okay, I'm taking a break. Like, not just taking a break, not like resting, but like taking a break, kind of refueling so that you can be ready and strong to go back into battle. So it's not for the point of resting just to rest. It's as a gameplay, or not gameplay, but as a strategy. And then the Tower, and then the Lovers. So what I'm seeing in this is you're taking this mentality, this like, okay, I got to know everything, I got to figure everything out, and probably that's why you're in this, because you're just like, let me make sense of everything. But then, sorry, I just hit it. But then you go into this, and this feels like this right now, where it's like, it's not resting, taking a vacation, but it's that mentality of, if I rest in battle, if I rest and recharge my batteries so I can function better, what if the Tower, what if things are going to collapse? What if what I'm resting in right now isn't actually solid yet? And what if, like, you know what I mean? And it's that mentality of, what if I get lost? What if everything's going to get destroyed? I can't just sit on this bench. Well, like, what am I doing? I need to move. And not saying you do, but that's how you feel. And then this is the Lover's card. Like I said, this could be a business situation. This could also be a relationship. It could be the way you function in a relationship, or you're in a business together in the relationship. But something that sticks out to me with this card is the idea that the snake is the same color as them. And they're portrayed as, you know, wings, like angel wings. And then there's a snake the same color. And I get this like idea, this concept that, is it the same as me? Like, they might be thinking, okay, are we the same? Like, are we one in the same thing? Like, are you my mother? Not saying that, but you know, that idea. And so this element of what do I follow? What do I do? You know, like, where is this going? Where is everything going? Where is it? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to take this approach? Or am I supposed to take this approach? Am I supposed to be okay when this happens and then this goes like this? Like, what am I supposed to do? And this concept of what's going to make our union come together, whether it's, like I said, an actual romantic situation, or whether it's, I want to say reconciliation. This card's not about reconciliation, but I almost want to say, it might be, for some of you, it might be reconciliation. What's going to work? Like, how can we make this work? How can we... Okay, so I know, like, in a kiss, the way you kiss, one person's like leaning one way and one person's leaning another way. But for some reason that sticks out to me. So it's like one person's, you know, this side, like symbolically speaking, and the other person's this side. So it's like you're two different people, like two different people, or two different parts of yourself. This could be, like I said, this could be even parts of yourself that, like, even you and your inner child or inner parts of you that you're trying to meld together to, or function correctly, or not correctly, but efficiently. But again, it's two different viewpoints. It's this person viewing this point, this person this way, and thinking, these are two different ways. Is this going to work? Is this going to work? And then this is like the root of everything. And they're like, okay, well, maybe we're the same thing. And it's not like, I mean, obviously, like the whole storyline, that's the snake and it wasn't anything good. But I just get that. I just get this idea of, like, what advice are we supposed to take? What am I supposed to take advice-wise? What am I supposed to be doing? Why am I allowed to be sitting here on a bench? Like, is this really okay? Like, where, especially when you move the magnet and there's like all these magnets around, it's like, why? Like, there's no ability to move without picking it up. I just felt that, like, resistance, that, like, everything, like, in the way. And everything in the way. It's like, okay, well, even you might think sometimes parts of yourself are in the way because you're trying to get things going. It's funny too, because this is like an arrow, like almost like Cupid arrow. I don't know. It's gold. I don't know if Cupid arrow is supposed to be gold, but this arrow right here. But it's really not eerie, but weird how, oh, is that like a bow right there? Like a Cupid's bow? Maybe? I don't know. If it is, it's like, doesn't have the other part. But anyways, it's weird how that's what's like dividing. Like, that's what separates this one from this one, is actually Cupid's bow. I mean, it's going to the apple, which, like, almost like when you shoot an apple, like for target practice or whatever. It's usually over someone's head when that's shown like that, I think. Or that's just in stuff, but... And it is. It's like we're trying to come together to make something heavenly. But you're working from, like, something that's... It's almost trying to, like, come together to make something heavenly out of, like, bad pasts, or focusing on, like, truth and technical. And you're like, okay, is this enough? Like, is this, like, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. It can go so many different ways. Because if you take the Christian viewpoint, then, you know, that's one thing, the biblical. If you take, like, other ways, like, okay, tree of knowledge, like, there's so many different ways to see that. But it is interesting that the arrow goes into this and it separates them. So that which is pointing to the knowledge and the, not truth, but the knowledge, what's targeting the knowledge, is actually what's separating them. Which is interesting, because it's like, it's the idea of needing to know sometimes isn't, like, the best thing. Like, it's not that it's going to be wrong or bad, but maybe it takes away the magic. That might be for some of you. Like I said, some people that might not be a message for you, but for some of you, the message might, part of it might be needing to know and needing to understand why you're there and needing to get off the bench to figure things out. I'm not saying that that's what everyone's trying to do. It might take away the magic. It might take away the magic from, because on the bench, remember, the bench is also like the fairy light tree area. To be able, that sitting there is supposed to have that effect, or that effect on your whole path, or you're supposed to see it that way. And so getting up and leaving it, it might take away the magic. It might take away this part in your life. And the getting up and leaving it is literally not getting up and leaving. It's literally going back to work, enjoying the hustle and the bustle and the life and the energy. Like, your purpose path might literally be right now just resting right now and taking it all in. And it doesn't, you don't have to be not doing anything when you're resting and taking it in. Like, you can be growing in yourself as a person and in your own healing while you're doing that. So that, like, when you do come back, you will have more, not strength as in like, but you know, like, you know what I mean? Inner strength. And love. This is a very interesting Tower card. It makes me think of the book, The War, well, the movie now, but originally the book, The War of the Worlds. And the idea that, like, oh, it's so, I didn't even notice this. Okay. So he's like on these swords, and then this is like on those. And it's actually 4 as well, just the same way as his is. So it's the same concept. So it's like, oh, sorry, I took it out. On 4 swords, on 4 pillars, or whatever it is. But it's the idea that, like, he feels there, resting, as normally feel about the tower. Like, that it can crumble any minute, and it looks comfortable, or it looks like the thing to do, but it's temporary. And this is temporary, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. You need to take a break. You need to rest and recharge your batteries. There could also be another element here of, because he's on his swords, and swords are mental and intellectual, he could be resting on his, either resting on his words or resting on his thoughts, on his knowledge or thoughts. So it really could be, as he gathers it here, or he goes and moves that way. And then he gets to this place where he's like, okay, well, now I can rest on this. But then it's like, either he's afraid of this happening because of that, or it does happen, but that's because it's supposed to happen anyways. Like, the tower is not a constant. It's an end of one phase and the beginning of a new one. And then this could be the new one. Like I said, this could be for so many different people, different scenarios. Like, you know, some of you, it might be, this is a fear you have, just like that. And then some of you, I mean, not that, but what I saw that as. And then some of you, it might be, this is what's happening, or what will happen, and you're terrified of this. But ultimately, good is going to come. You just have to allow yourself to take the rest, to sit on the bench, to be amongst the fairy lights under the trees. And not worry if the magnet can't move out of that spot. Okay. So yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. A lot of times with YouTube's algorithms, I don't know if I said this earlier, but with YouTube's algorithms, commenting actually does a ton as well. So let me know if there's other decks you want me to use. Let me know what you thought of this deck, of this reading. Let me know which group you are, what your situation is, because like I said, this seemed like it was for like 4 different people, or not people, but 4 different situations. And yeah, so I will see you next time.